The Mafia series is one that I have a lot of love for. The mystery, the history, and stories of the Mafia, it's something that's really captivated cultures around the world. So giving me the ability to take on the role of becoming part of the Mafia, it's kind of like watching American Gangster and then wanting to become a drug dealer. It's a weird situation to be in. Now, I previously obtained the Platinum Trophy for Mafia Definitive Edition, and now that I've acquired the Platinum Trophy for Mafia The Old Country, I'm ready to present to you my review after 100%. Before we begin, I want to be transparent with the audience and let you know that I did receive a free early review code from 2K to be able to complete this review. I want to make sure and say thank you to them for the code, but also inform you, the viewer, that I did receive a review code. Now, as we start this review, I always give two options at the conclusion of my reviews: who should buy and who should not. Now sit back, grab some popcorn, a Coke, maybe Diet Coke, and enjoy the review. Hit like and subscribe too, really helps. Setting and story. Mafia The Old Country takes place in the early 1900s in Sicily, Italy. We take over the main character, Enzo, over the span of 14 different chapters plus a prologue. Now Enzo, he does not have family ties associated with being in the Mafia, but he's a mine boy who grew up very poor. Through a sequence of events, he's eventually introduced and taken in by the Teresi crime family.
Then you bring him back, Luca.
The overall setting of Sicily's countryside was very immersive to be part of. It combined a rugged countryside, scenic ocean views, and a volcano that was, well, just waiting to explode. It also gave you a glimpse of the small cities, such as San Celeste, which was mentioned in earlier Mafia games. I also found that they utilized fully localized Sicilian voice acting with supporting characters, which explains why, honestly, I had no idea what some of the people were calling me. Pretty sure most of them were insults, but hey, they're Italian, so it's kind of hard to tell.
Figli di puttana.
Now the story quickly introduces us to Enzo. He's a young man who grew up extremely poor and just a natural fighter trying to survive. Like a typical dude though, he eventually finds a girl and, well, he thinks with the wrong head, which eventually gets him into some very hot water. Enzo evolves within the game from this poor mine boy to running the local Teresi crime family's day-to-day operations after a big loss happened to the family. And when it comes to the story itself, I got everything that I wanted from this game. The story took about 10 to 12 hours, give or take, to be able to complete. However, even in its shorter story cycle, the evolution of Enzo and how the story was framed from the beginning to end, it moved me to really love what Hangar 13 presented here for us to experience. Like a typical Mafia game, the story involves corruption, violence, backstabbing, and much more. You might be thinking, you're not given a lot of specific story details here. Well, these reviews after 100% completion are going to be all spoiler free because I want you to experience the same emotions that I had the opportunity to feel while I was playing this game. If you want to get into spoilers, I will have a Platinum Trophy video for Mafia available here in the next couple weeks. Gameplay and features. Mafia The Old Country does not offer swimming mechanics. I'm kidding. Don't join Twitter or X, whatever we call that place. It'll ruin your brain. Anyways, life in the 1900s, it's very simple. They did have cars, which are showcased in the game, but you used a crank in order to start them. Nice little detail there to immerse within that time frame. For traversal in Mafia, you got a few options. Well, your 2 feet, a horse, or a car. Now, you will find yourself involved in a horse or car race, which it did seem to be designed for you to win no matter what. I'm not a huge fan of this, as I really like the challenge of not being guaranteed that win. I'm sure if I just sat there or maybe slowed down closer to the end, I probably would have lost, but it definitely seemed like it was set up for me to win these races even whenever I was playing on hard. You contrast that to Mafia Definitive Edition, the classic car race you had to do on hard mode. It's a drastic difference, as that race made me want to break my controller. Now, Mafia's boss fights and major encounters, they get to be settled by a good old-fashioned knife fight. When starting out, I thought, this might get old after a while. However, the more I played, the more I saw the enemy progression within the fights to keep it fluid and unique to not feel so repetitive. When enemies attack you, you can either dodge or parry depending on the attack type that they present to you. Some attacks cannot be parried, so you must dodge. And the enemy, they can also block. So when they do, you have to utilize other attack methods in order to maneuver around their blocks to strike them. The shooting mechanics in this game felt really good to me. You can switch shoulders when shooting to reflect the right or left hand in order to clear corners and get better shots. The recoil on the various gun types, it also provided a more immersive feeling, as each weapon manipulation, it just felt a little bit more unique in its sway, shot placement, and much more. This game does present a lot of stealth options when working through the game. Most areas you can kind of just go guns blazing if you want to, but the game really shines when you try to work through in a stealthy and cerebral way. As part of the stealth, you can take down enemies by choking them out, or if you have your knife ready, you can go through and just stab the shit out of them. But you need to be always looking to loot. You need to pick up bandages, ammo, but also have a stone piece that allows you to sharpen your knife and replenish its usage. Essentially, each time you utilize your knife, you will lose a slot. Once you run out, you need to utilize the whetstone in order to sharpen the knife to gain all the usage slots back. You also unlock charms as you progress through the game and discover different upgrades. You have several different charm slots, and these can modify and enhance some of the skills that you're utilizing within combat. I think this was probably the best route to go since it is a shorter linear game. I don't think that a full-on skill tree would have made much sense, but man, would I love for the next Mafia game to be a little bit bigger, spanning a 30 to 40 hour campaign. I know some of you are probably like, no, don't do that. I really like these, shorter games. But at the end of this game, I was thinking, man, I really want more. Why does this have to end? So I think if they made a longer game as the next one, it would probably crush. Now, this game is mostly linear, but you can explore within certain parameters, as you will need to go through and get all the collectibles to earn the coveted Platinum Trophy. These collectibles consist of foxes, newspapers, taking photos, and more. Some of these are accessible during the missions, but others you find during the open world free roam after you beat the game. And when it comes to the driving and horse riding in the game, they did a pretty good job on both of them being smooth. I did have a pretty funny bug where I was driving the car. I went to hit a ramp and somehow, well, my car ended up face down, ass up on the ramp, and I did not plan for that to happen. The last feature I want to touch on for this section is the enemy AI. In past Mafia games, the enemy was incredibly stupid and just presented really no tactics, even on hard. In Mafia The Old Country, when playing on hard specifically, I noticed the enemies were actively trying to flank me. They were strategically tossing grenades to force me to move, and they had these very sequenced firing methods to cover each other. Maybe I'm just seeing things when I noticed the shoot to cover that they were trying to do in order to gain ground. However, as I progressed in the game, I saw them continue to do this more and more, and it was very impressive to see this within a game like Mafia. Performance and graphics. I played and recorded footage of Mafia The Old Country from my 85-inch Sony Bravia TV, and it was captured through an Elgato HD 60X capture card via my PS5 Pro. It's a mouthful. Overall, this game looks absolutely beautiful in the Unreal Engine 5. There are some bugs, but for the game being $50 US, I do expect there to be some bugs here and there, which I will talk about a few of them. Now, I can only speak to the PlayStation version of this game as I played just on the PS5 Pro. There are two graphical options here, quality and performance, which is pretty standard for most games, especially on the PlayStation platform. On the PS5 Pro, quality mode provides 30 to 40 FPS with 4K experience, while performance mode offers 60 FPS and above. Personally, I enjoy performance mode in the games I play, and I also play with VSync turned on, which does minimize the screen tearing within the game, and I do recommend keeping it turned on. I personally did not have any game crashes during my time playing, but I did run into a few bugs. I noticed some pop-ins, especially when I was driving. I could see some of the grass and trees popping in and a little bit out as I approached them, along with a few pedestrians who would just kind of disappear sometimes. Needs to be fixed, but it was pretty funny. These were the main bugs that I experienced during my over 30-hour playtime in the game to get the platinum. The game's scenery was beautiful to be engulfed in, and I just thought they did a really good job in optimization with the Unreal Engine 5. Accessibility features. Being a military veteran, accessibility features within gaming is something I'm very passionate about. I have friends who sustain injuries that make it very difficult to navigate everyday life, and it can be difficult to play video games that lack certain features, so I always include these in my reviews as a focal point. Mafia The Old Country, it does show the controller mapping. However, I could not find a way to change any of the controls. You can change the vibration level and the sensitivities. Sprint can also be modified from toggle to just holding down. For the gameplay, there are 3 difficulty options: easy, medium, and hard. There is a trophy for completing on hard, just FYI. You can fully modify the aim assist to be as helpful as possible, or, well, as reliant on you as possible. You can change your vehicle to be manual transmission. I did not, but you can if you would like. The game offers the ability to skip the drive as well, which I did on my second playthrough. Stances can be changed when using cover between persistent or classic Mafia. I personally personally like the persistent cover more than I did the classic Mafia. The HUD can be fully customized. If you want to turn everything off and have absolutely no HUD, well, you can do that in this game. This can give you a sense of just being fully immersed within the game and having absolutely no idea where you're going, what you have, or what anything is. I covered the graphical options in the last section, so if you missed that, make sure to go back. There are 8 different languages in the game and subtitles. The subtitle sizing, color, and background opacity can all be modified to your needs. If you are colorblind, you can select between deuteranope, protanope, and tritanope within your options. This game does support HDR and can be fully modified to your liking within the settings. Overall, Hanger implemented some very good accessibility features within the game, and I wanted to make sure and highlight these features, especially for those who rely on them for your gaming experience. Sound and music. The sound within Mafia The Old Country, it was very well done, especially the utilization of the Sicilian voice acting within the game.
Ciao, just pare.
If you play with that voice acting turned on in English subtitles, it is a whole vibe of immersion within that culture. I thought the voice acting and line delivery in the game, it was crisp and movie quality in its presentation. I felt like actually watching the cutscenes because the story, it roped me in to where I wanted to see what happened next. Some games, especially at that $50 price point, they can really struggle sometimes when it comes to the sound quality as they're finding ways to capitalize on budgeting for the game. Now there is a soundtrack that is available on Spotify that consists of 12 songs if you want to pick that up and check it out. Case conclusion. Now that I've completed this review after 100% of Mafia The Old Country, let's discuss who should buy and who should not. And when I do these reviews, I look at the value within games that it will bring to consumers if they decide to purchase it. After completing the game and getting the Platinum Trophy, I recommend this game to anyone who is a fan of the Mafia franchise. Also, if you want a polished linear 10 to 15 hour experience with a good story, characters, and gameplay that just feels really good, then I also think this game is worth picking up for $50 US. But if you did not like the other Mafia games, or maybe you're just looking for a fully open world experience that does not limit your movements, then I think that you should pass on the game completely, or maybe wait until you see it on sale until it's more discounted for you. Ultimately though, choice is yours. It's your money. You buy whatever you want. My goal is to finish these games in their entirety with the Platinum Trophy and then present the game to you so you can make a purchasing decision. I want to thank you guys for watching this Mafia The Old Country review after 100%. It means a lot. On your way out, make sure you like the video, comment your thoughts on the game, smash the sub button with notify on so you catch all my reviews and my Platinum Trophy videos. Thank you guys for watching, and be cool to people.